Let's bring in Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall, former chief of staff to Colorado Congressman Ken Buck, Garrett Ventry. Garrett, we'll start with you. You know, you take a look at this map here. This is not just a Colorado issue. I mean, you've got about a dozen other states that are considering this. You know, what's the political fallout from this, either in the Republican Party and then the larger issue in a general election?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. You're right. I mean, there's a number of other states that are looking at this. This isn't just an isolated incident here. Legally, I think it's very interesting here because Donald Trump is not in any of the indictments, the four indictments, has not been charged with inciting insurrection. He was actually cleared of that charge in the second impeachment. The Senate acquitted him on that. So that's number one. Number two, I think it's interesting that, you know, if you look at the 14th Amendment, Section 3, it's talking about Confederate soldiers who were essentially, you know, betrayed the United States, that committed treason, barring them from office. I think it's a laughable comparison. Politically here, you would think Democrats learned their lesson here. They've indicted him 4 times. Every time he's went up in the polls. And we're not just talking about in the primary where he's up, you know, 50 or 60 points in recent Fox News polling. We're talking about the general election. He's up 5 in a recent Fox News poll against Joe Biden. He's up 4 in a recent CNBC poll. Same thing in New York Times. He's up 2 points. He's also chipping away at Joe Biden's coalition, whether it's Hispanic voters, he's winning with them for the first time. Young voters, he's winning with them for the first time as well. And even African-American voters, it's historic for a Republican candidate to be polling in modern history 20% of the vote there.
Yeah, Leslie, how about that? Take a look at the poll numbers from Iowa here. Presidential preference, you've got Donald Trump at 67%, DeSantis at 11%, Haley at 11%, Vivek Ramaswamy at 4%, Christie at 3%. I mean, if he's indicted again, does he go to 100%? I mean, what is the ceiling here?
I don't know what the ceiling is, but this is not a surprise. I predicted, and many in my party and the Republican Party as well predicted, that if he ran again, he would be the nominee. And I'm not going to go too far on a limb to say he's probably going to be the nominee, just when you look at these numbers, when you look at these margins. If you want to talk about where he's pulling from Biden, we also have to talk about reality and where he's gaining, especially among African Americans, or largely in red states, which he's going to win already. But where is he losing? He's losing a lot of women. He's also losing some of the white male vote, and that could be troublesome. But we're still far away, whether we're going to be for or against Joe Biden or Donald Trump numerically, from the general election. If we're going to talk about what Colorado's doing, people might be surprised to hear what I say about this, because I don't necessarily disagree with what a lot of Republicans are saying. I think it helps Donald Trump politically, as we're seeing. He gets a bump any time. I think people feel bad for him. Oh, you poor thing. You know, let's support him more. But then at the same time, I don't think this is going to stick. I don't think this is going to stand. On the reverse note, though, Republicans say they want the states to have more power. This is an example of that.
So the president, meanwhile, is out talking about the economy today. Here's some of that.
We have among the lowest inflation rates of any major economy on this earth. We're fighting a lower cost to give folks just a little bit more breathing room, my dad used to say. But let's be clear. Republicans are against so many critical actions that help working and middle-class people, especially black Americans.
You know, Garrett, there are positive signs in the economy. You've got job growth. You've got a number of other issues that are going in the president's favor. But when it comes to inflation, inflation is indisputably higher than it was when he took office. Is this the type of situation that he just shouldn't mention this anymore?
Yeah, I mean, President Biden's tried to sell his economic agenda. It's just simply not working here. Again, you're talking about 4 years ago, inflation is higher than when he got into office here. You've had historic inflation. It's been at 8 or 9% at some point. It's obviously come down, but it's still higher than it was 3 or 4 years ago when President Trump was in office. You obviously have mortgage rates at, you know, almost 7%, making it almost impossible to buy a home. And so you've got more people in credit card debt than they've ever been before, more people draining their savings. So the economy, he can go out there and try and sell this message, but it's not resonating with the American people here. Again, this isn't just Republicans and independents that are even saying this. Even Democrats don't think the economy is as good as it was 3 or 4 years ago. So it's a big problem going into 2024. A lot can change in a year. But another interesting stat here, polling shows that, you know, more people think that the worst hasn't even come yet. So that's a problem that Joe Biden's going to have to overcome when you're comparing the economy 4 years ago, where people felt like they were better off under President Trump.
Leslie, real quick, when it comes to inflation, should the president ignore it or should he explain it?
I think he should explain it, because a lot of people read headlines and they don't read the fine print. You know, I'm a firm believer, when you just look historically about the economy, that it takes people a while to catch up to the facts, like you talk about, whether it's GDP or whether it's wage growth or it's low unemployment. And even though that, you know, inflation scares people, it is coming down. We are seeing the Fed that's going to loosen a grip. We are seeing people that are starting to buy more homes because that interest rate has dropped. Gas prices have dropped. One thing the polls do say that people don't like to read when you go down to the fourth page is they think the economy will be better a year from now.
Okay.
And that next year, 2024, matters more than at this moment.
Leslie Garrett, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.